I have a lot of explaining to do. I am currently standing in a hole in the ground, without any armor, beginning to fear for my life. How did I get here, you may ask? Well, it's a story that spans 3 years, 7 Minecraft servers, and an ever-growing group of friends who really like the game. It's the story of Heliorealm. And man, is it going to take me a while to explain. Quick disclaimer about this bit, I was not there for the earlier seasons of Heliorealm's history, and everything I know about those times came from interrogating the people who were, so I apologize if this part of the video isn't the most detailed or informative. When Heliorealm first started, things weren't quite as busy as they are now. The year was 2018. It feels like centuries ago, but it also feels like yesterday. Update Aquatic was out. We had visible fish, we had shipwrecks, and our oceans and rivers were plagued with stupid drowned. I hate drowned. Anyway, this was when our first server began, Heliorealm 1. At the time, there were only a few members. I'd introduce them individually, but it'd take some time, so look out for player explanations throughout the rest of the series. Again, I can't tell you that much about what really happened in the first season. I'd expect it functioned as a fairly normal Minecraft server with shops and houses and a good deal of trolling. But from what I've heard, gameplay was more oriented around Minecraft stuff, game progression and such, rather than pursuing a plotline and telling a story. The player base at the time hadn't yet expanded to the point where things like that were doable, or at least optimal. After all, the first Heliorealm started with only 3 or 4 people, and little did they know, they were the beginning of something much, much larger. Eventually, people got tired of Helio 1. Either they beat the game and wanted to do it over again, or their server was too laggy to bear because the hosting company was bad. Or maybe a certain player blew everyone's homes up using the TNT duplicators that 1.13 made possible. No joke, I often have nightmares of an anthropomorphic parrot coming to my home in the middle of the night and murdering me in my sleep. Existential dread aside, the first chapter of the great saga that is Heliorealm came to an end after a while. Then another server was created, Heliorealm 2. Then a similar fate befell the sequel, and a third one came about. This continued for some time, servers ending and new ones starting, throughout the shift from 1.13 to 1.14 and so on. Then the Nether update came around. At this point, Heliorealm had reached its 5th season, and things were going better than ever. People were being invited left, right, and center. And one of those people happened to be me. I joined a few weeks after Heliorealm 5 began. So far, people had built a decent starter house with a small underground network underneath it. Within the coming weeks, though, things started to expand at a moderate pace. Shops were popping up, people started to create their own houses, and things gradually grew outwards until we had a decent town area. Then the first company was created. It's called Mediocre Enterprises, and while I don't want to bore you with the story of how it almost destroyed the economy with its neo-communist ideals and questionable ethics, it was one of the inciting incidents that gave us all something more to work towards. With Mediocre Enterprises in the mix, other corporations and feuding businesses began to pop up, vying for customers and profits. This led to some legal disputes, which made me realize something. Up until then, we had played on a lawless server, where all that was expected of you was to not make your friends upset. Coincidentally, people didn't always do the one thing expected of them, so I decided that the time was ripe to establish a legal system. I built this town hall. I was pretty happy with it at the time, even if it doesn't look like much anymore. Anyway, I figured that having a place like this would be a good idea, that it would act as an organizational centerpiece for the server, and it kinda happened that way. But first, we needed someone to actually make the laws and work at the town hall. We needed a mayor, and so I encouraged Mac, a friend of mine, who you'll no doubt hear more about in the coming episodes, to run. And run he did. In fact, in the end, out of the 3 players in the mayoral campaign, he got, I believe, about 70% of the votes. Granted, this particular player, Mac, did invite half of the server's members at the time, including me, and he was also the owner of Mediocre Enterprises, which didn't hurt either. But even so, it was an impressive victory. Eventually, though, Heliorealm 5 met the fate of its predecessors. We stopped playing, and for a while, all we did was chat occasionally on Discord. And then out of nowhere, Nick, aka Chirpingqua, who I spoke briefly about earlier, started a new server. That server was Heliorealm 6, and initially the series you're about to see was planned to happen on that server. But I didn't do that. Anyway, by the point of Heliorealm 6, we had accumulated a pretty decent community, and while it wasn't quite the number of people we have today, it was enough to start thinking more seriously about beginning a plotline for the server. This started when another friend of mine, Matt, aka Mega23, declared me the president, then promptly killed me in a long live the king moment, turning him into the new rightful president. That very concise retelling didn't do it justice at all, and while initially I had written down in the script to go check out his videos on Heliorealm 6, they are no longer on YouTube, so that's unfortunate. But a few other people have been making videos, and will continue to make videos on Heliorealm. If you just type the word Heliorealm into the YouTube search bar, you'll get nothing but our content. Thank you for sitting through the shameless plugging section of the video. Wait, where was I again? Alright, plotline stuff. There is a lot to say here, and it frankly isn't very important going forward. So, if you want to pause the video and read that, then go ahead. All that out of the way, I think I'm going to get back to work here. It has just occurred to me, though, that at the beginning of this video, I promised to explain this situation, and I actually haven't done that at all. Sorry, but if you really want to know how I ended up here, you'll just have to wait for episode 1 of Heliorealm 7. This has been Ben, and I'll see you all next time. I have barely scratched the surface of what's gone on so far, and about 70% of the server's members have gone unmentioned during this video. I didn't want this to stretch on for too long, as I've received multiple complaints regarding the length of my videos, and while I personally think that high-effort content shouldn't be confined by time limits, I want to respect the wishes of my audience to the best of my ability.